Welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
I'm Lizzie.
and this is Harry Potter and the Second Time Reader.
Woo!
Coming with book 6.
Yeah. Excited.
I know, it's going to be great. Before we jump in, I think I asked you this at the end of book 5, but give me a real quick ranking of the books.
No, I hate this question. I was actually trying to, in the space between the last book and this book, reread like all of them and see if I could do that, but I couldn't do that. Just because I wanted like an actual ranking. Yeah. But I reread 1 and I really liked the first one, honestly. Yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But I don't know. I can't answer that. I pass.
I'll ask you that later. Are you excited for book 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be good.
All right. Beautiful.
I think it's gonna be action packed. I hope. I don't know.
We'll see. Let's jump right into it and do the discussion, because chapter 1 starts a little bit differently from how the rest of the books start. So give me a quick summary of chapter 1, The Other Minister.
So basically you are in the Prime Minister's office, and then the Minister of Magic comes in, which is Fudge, and then they you just learn about how they communicate with each other, and it's like very minimal information shared, only what's necessary to the human world.
Yeah.
And then the new Minister of Magic, who is, what's his name?
Scrimger.
He comes in, and then they talk, and then it's like boom, he's gone.
Yeah.
So
it's quick.
It's a good summary.
He doesn't have time for the Muggle Prime Minister at all.
Yeah. But I feel like the Muggle Minister by the end of it was kind of just like, okay, I can deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he got used to it.
Yeah, I think he got used to them coming, but I think for this specific occurrence, I think he was more stressed out than he's ever been. What are your impressions? Did you think Fudge was going to lose his job?
I guess I didn't really think about it, but once I read that, it made sense to me.
Yeah.
But then I thought Dumbledore was going to be the next Prime Minister, but he's the chief warlock of the Wizengamot.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, so I guess you can't be both of those things. I don't know which one's a better position for him, but I guess it makes sense that.
Why do you think that? Do you think that they would have offered it to Dumbledore, and why wouldn't he have taken it?
Well, who offers it in the first place? Is it popular vote?
Great question.
Because I thought the Wizengamot, is that how you say that?
Wizengamot?
The Wizengamot.
Why you can say Wizengamot?
The
tomato.
Wizengamot. I thought maybe they vote in the prime ministers.
Maybe that's actually a fascinating
congressy type of thing.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't seem like it's by general election. There's debate on this, and I forgot what the conclusion is for some of it. But there's in the Fantastic Beasts movies, there's an election for one of the ministers of magic, but it's not the British Minister of Magic. So why the British don't have an election for their Minister of Magic baffles me. Because even Dumbledore says they asked him to be minister. So it seems like it's just like a buddies club.
It's just like write whoever you want on the ballot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, oh,
yeah,
you got the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Because why do you say it's not popular vote? I thought most people like this other guy.
Well, it doesn't seem like people vote on it at all. It seems like they just install the person who they think needs to lead.
Oh, really?
And I don't know who the who is either. Maybe the Wizengamot.
To me, it felt like everybody liked this other guy. That's why they put him in. The general public. So then I didn't know how that got from the public into
Yeah, that's a great question.
The ministry.
Maybe there's delegates or something like that from different areas, and they all just kind of cast the votes however they need to. But Scrimgeour, they definitely like Scrimgeour right now a little bit more than they like Fudge, because he seemed like a wartime president or minister, obviously. So, how did you like even just the introduction for this chapter? Like how this chapter is different from all the other ones. It doesn't start with Harry. It starts with this other side story, this side quest.
I feel like it's just showing how big the story is, because you don't need to just focus on Harry. It's encompassing the whole world at this point. So I feel like it zoomed out the lens and then it lets like the story grow from there because now like the whole world is involved.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool. Like it seems like it jumps right into the story as like the later books do, like the previous 2 books do,
Yeah.
but it's not like a action packed type of beginning to me. Like the first 4 chapters, it's just like you're like stuff's happening and you're learning about the story, but to me it's not like, you know, you're in the house and like, oh,
Yeah.
who's gonna get killed? What's this
Yeah,
giant
for sure.
snake? It's like you're just setting the stage. I still
Yeah.
feel like.
These 4 are definitely setting the stage,
Yeah.
but they're setting it in a really good way. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for later parts. You probably know the answer to this question, but there's a line that says, Fudge took a great deep breath and said, Prime Minister, I am very sorry to have to tell you that he's back. He who must not be named is back. Yes, alive, said Fudge. That is, I don't know. Is a man alive if he can't be killed? I don't really understand it. And Dumbledore won't explain it properly. But anyway, he's certainly got a body and is walking and talking and killing. So I suppose for the purposes of our discussion, yes, he's alive. Why won't Dumbledore explain it? And what is he not explaining?
I don't know what he's not explaining, but I'm assuming he's not explaining everything to Fudge because either he knows Fudge is gonna get booted out,
Okay.
or like he doesn't trust him. But I just think Fudge like doesn't get what's going on, and he's not gonna be like a good ally. So I feel like he's just trying to exclude him.
Okay.
But I don't think he's telling many people what's going on anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that Dumbledore has told anybody what's going on?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think he will tell anybody?
I think he'll tell Harry more in this book, hopefully.
Okay.
I mean, he already does. I'll hit that later, but yeah, I feel like Dumbledore's gonna he's gonna start talking more about his plans just because of what happened in the last book. I feel like he had a whole issue with that and like not sharing enough information.
Yeah.
So
clearly.
I hope he shares more. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he just doesn't think Fudge is gonna be a good steward of that information.
Yeah, agreed.
Because like he obviously doesn't know what's happening. Like if someone told me that, it's like, oh well, he seems alive, but like I don't know. Like that's not that's not convincing to me.
It's terrible, I know. And Fudge is just not like, even especially with last book, he's not a trustworthy person. So
Yeah.
whatever Dumbledore is hiding, he's hiding it for good reason, especially from Fudge. If he's hiding it from other people, he's hiding it for different reasons, maybe. But Fudge is just not a person you trust or something like that.
Yeah.
How
did Fudge get booted out though? Was that by popular vote, or did he resign?
Again, I don't
think he'd resign.
No, he would never resign. Yeah. Maybe he would resign because he was getting pushed out. But it seemed like I think he said something like in this chapter, like they were demanding that I be like released, or like, you know, he couldn't stop the flow of people coming in and asking him to step down. After something like that happens in your career, I think you just have to, like, you're forced to. There's no coming back from something like that. So, yeah, Fudge is just not. He was never really a good leader, in my opinion. Did you think that? Yeah, what did you think about Fudge? Did you think he had any like good qualities?
I didn't think he was like bad necessarily until he reaches the point of like ignoring what Dumbledore's saying about Voldemort. Like once he gets to that point, then I'm like, okay, he's just like knowingly being ignorant, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of like oxymoron. But I don't know, like in the first books, he's just doing his thing. Like he's not really a big character, but I don't like that he's denying the truth.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because in the beginning, he does seem like a neutral person, and then all of a sudden he switches. Where like neutral people, like you have neutral leaders, and sometimes you're like, oh, you know, whatever. I don't like this person, but I don't dislike them. They don't do any harm, at least. They're not doing any good, but they're not doing any harm. That's what he was, I feel like, for the first 4 books.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he switches and then goes to the way of harm, and you kind of hate him. I hated him in the last book. So when he's sacked in this one, you're like, good, finally he's out.
I feel like he would have a change of heart. Like if he was still the sitting prime minister at this point and like this book, I feel like he would be better at fighting Voldemort. But that's my opinion.
Why do you say that?
Because it's like undeniable now. Like he is recognizing that Voldemort's back. And
Yeah, that's
Voldemort
actually
was
a good
in
point.
the Ministry, so like there's no way he can keep denying it.
Yeah. So right now there's like a big transition to power when really like just let Fudge deal with
Yeah.
this. Not that he's gonna deal with it well, but at least he maybe knows the avenues for which to deal with it. Like, and like you can kind of go quick. That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, like he'd have a change of heart.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens.
I know, and there's a point to it where like it prime minister doesn't. I guess like prime minister or president, they don't do it. They do a lot, but they don't necessarily do a ton. It's like public perception. So if you have someone and they're like Fudge and he's like perceived to be a weak leader, you like most public, you just want someone who's strong and like has a good like face on, and so that's why I think they just wanted Scrimgeour rather than Fudge. He just seemed like a stronger person than Fudge. But maybe they're making a wrong decision. Maybe Fudge is already primed for this job and they need to reinstate him, and everything would go really well.
Who knows?
The more important question is, I don't know if you're going to catch this, but will you ever look at Mist the same way?
Oh my gosh. No, I will not. It's been changed, and I notice Mist every single day of my life that I see it. I came to that part of the book, and I literally was like, "Oh, I hate this."
You're like, I don't want to walk in Mist anymore.
Yeah, that was not a needed like piece of information. I feel we don't need that.
Yeah, it was a little gross,
But they didn't explain it at all either. Like they just threw it out there, and I was like,
agreed.
"That's so funny."
Yeah. I love that it was just like underwritten. It was just like, oh yeah, that's why we have all this mist, because the Dementors are breeding. You're like, hold on.
It's like, is that
what? This is disgusting.
Yeah. Yep.
There's not a ton we can talk about a few other things in chapter 1, but I want to talk about chapter 2. So chapter 2 is Spinner's End, unless you had anything else in chapter 1.
Just keep going.
All right, chapter 2, Spinner's End. Give me a quick summary of this.
So this is the chapter where Bellatrix and Narcissa go to Snape, Severus Snape, to talk about this mission that Draco is like sent on, but they don't say what that is, and then they make this like promise with each other, and there's like magic going around their hands. It feels like a wedding to me.
Yeah.
And really. Then I guess you just and Snape like has to defend himself against all these allegations of like why he's not like a true servant of the Dark Lord. But I think he has a good defense. I don't know. A little confused, but it makes sense.
You trust that he's... What do you think of Snape now during this chapter?
Well, I'm like 100%. If I was Bellatrix, I would be like very convinced. I was like, that was a good description. He was standing on business. Like nothing. I believed him. But then in my heart, I'm just like, I think he's good. Like I think he's lying, but he's lying excellently. So I like believe everything he's saying, but I just don't think he's like, I think he's lying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm just a very gullible person. But
wait. No, that would make you not gullible.
Oh, I guess so.
Because if you believe what he's saying, so this is one of the weird chapters where like, okay, he seems like a sketchy character, but then if he's defending himself this well in front of Bellatrix, is he that good of a liar, or is he really just telling the truth?
That's the question. I think he's still on the good side, but I just think he's a great liar, and he's convinced Voldemort that he's on his side. Because I feel like, I forget what the 2 points were, but there was like 2 points where I was like, I don't think that's true. Like when he was camping out at Hogwarts, I was like, he could have killed Harry Potter. And yeah, she was like, oh, so you knew that like he was going to need the blood to come back. Like, how did you know Voldemort? You already said like you thought Voldemort was dead. Yeah. And then he was like, I forget what he said, but she had some good points too.
So in your thoughts and opinions right now, you think that Snape is fooling Voldemort rather than Dumbledore? Because he's fooling one of the two.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
He's also fooling the sisters.
Yeah, for sure.
I like them. They're cool.
Narcissa and Bellatrix. You like them?
I do. As soon as this started, I was like, yeah, these are cool people. They're like very sisterly, like opposites in looks, and then their actions are very opposite. I was just like, this is a great like sister duo.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what Bellatrix did, right?
Bellatrix killed Sirius.
Yeah, your boy, your boyfriend. Come
I
on.
know. But, you know, I see the best in people.
Second chances, it's okay.
I don't know. And they're like cousins too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
cousin Bella.
cousin Bella.
So generally Snape's answers are pretty satisfying to you.
Yeah.
There's another point that they make in this whole discussion, and I want to talk about this point. There's this conversation, and they say, "You were avoiding my last question, Snape. Harry Potter. You could have killed him at any point in the past 5 years. You have not done it. Why? Have you discussed this matter with the Dark Lord?" asked Snape. I'm asking you, Snape. If I had murdered Harry Potter, the Dark Lord could not have used his blood to regenerate, making him invincible. Do you think that the Dark Lord is invincible by using Harry's blood?
No. I think he's killable.
Why? So is Snape
Because
lying about
Harry's
this point?
killable. And if Harry has the same thing, like the same protection, then Voldemort's killable.
A side point on this, is Harry killable?
Yes. He's like almost died in every single book.
Yeah, he's almost died in every single book, but has he? He has survived the killing curse. Only kid who has survived the killing curse. Is there no protection over him anymore?
No, there's protection, but like I don't get that because the protection is there, but he's still almost dying. But I feel like I still think he could die. But I feel like the protection was in that moment. It's like
Yeah, for sure.
boom,
Yeah.
protection, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then Dumbledore said it leaves a mark and it resides in your very skin. So the protection still resides there, and to some degree, like you're nailing it, like for exactly what this is. He's like not invincible. He can die, but he still has the protection. There's all sorts of other like weird things at play here. But you don't think by using Harry's blood that does Voldemort have the protection that Harry does?
No, I don't know. Like, I don't think so. I think it helped him grow up in the cauldron.
Okay.
That's in the movie, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. Like that, I feel like that would happen with anybody's blood. But I think Voldemort thinks that's something to do with the prophecy, and then this whole love charm thing.
So it's really of no importance that he used Harry's blood.
I don't think so.
Okay. What about this other side little thing that they're doing? Not necessarily with blood, but this little oath that they're taking. What do you think about unbreakable vows?
I want to know more about unbreakable vows, actually.
All right.
Yeah. Because that's like, what happens if you break an unbreakable vow? Or can you break an unbreakable vow?
That's a great
Like,
question.
why is it unbreakable?
That's a great question.
Answer it.
I can't answer it yet.
Yes, you can.
What do you think happens if you break an unbreakable vow?
I'm assuming death, but that seems dramatic.
That's extreme.
So I don't know, like what aside from death. Maybe your hand turns black and shrivels.
Whoa. So you think Dumbledore has broken an unbreakable vow?
I think Dumbledore got zapped in the Ministry, but I don't know. I feel like some bodily harm would happen from breaking a unbreakable curse.
Okay.
I don't know.
What are they? So give me the contents of what they're promising to each other.
Well, only Snape is promising things.
Yeah.
I feel like something should be promised from her part. But whatever. She's making him promise to protect Draco, to help Draco, and to fulfill Draco's mission if he can't do it himself.
So what is this thing that Draco has to do?
I'm assuming that it's about killing Harry.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, Draco's gonna kill Harry, then the Malfoys will have like honor again in the sight of Voldemort, and then it's just like a big like buy Voldemort's love back type of deal.
Fascinating. Okay.
So I don't know why they would want Snape to do that instead, though, because I feel like the sisters would be happy to kill Harry Potter by themselves. But maybe Narcissa's just scared that Draco's gonna get killed in the process or get hurt because Harry's a powerful wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I thought was it could be something to do with Grimmauld Place because Harry is now the
owner of that place.
owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe, he has to like go find the headquarters and like they're scared that like the order's still there. So like maybe Draco dies when he goes to like check out Grimmauld Place.
Dang.
So I don't know, something like that.
I like that. Good theories. That'd be fascinating. It's gonna be fun to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do anything else in this chapter?
Why did Dumbledore send Snape back to the Dark Lord? Because he said that Dumbledore sent him, and I was like, why would he do that?
That's a question you're asking for me that I am going to ask back to you.
No. How about you
should
just
know at this point that I am
question?
not answering your question.
Sometimes I genuinely ask you a question and I forget that you can't answer it. I'm just like, what do you think?
This is going to be fun when we do Lord of the Rings because we're going to be able to have discussions.
Yeah.
Even though it's like we probably both know how the plot's going to go.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. It's going to be fun.
But no, what do you think? Because I feel like I just don't get how that would fly for either of them. Like, yeah. Because what reason would Dumbledore have to send him back? Because my little point was that if Dumbledore didn't even want Snape to teach Defense Against the Dark Arts because he might be tempted to go back, like, why would he literally send him in person back to Voldemort? Like, that's a much bigger temptation than, like, mediocre beginner spells. So,
Yep.
not sure.
He could, it could just be he's playing like the double agent. And he's playing it, you don't really see which side he's playing on, but he could be playing on either side for being the double agent on. Because if he's going back on Dumbledore's orders, he's like, trying to fool Dumbledore by just like, obeying his orders. Maybe he really is. And he's part of Dumbledore's plan.
I don't feel like that is satisfying answer.
Yeah. Don't worry. I won't give you any satisfying answers until you actually read it.
Okay. And why does like Narcissa call him Severus and then Bellatrix calls him Snape? I think there's like a respect thing of those who actually like Snape call him Severus, and then people who don't like him just call him Snape. And then
probably
on top of that, Harry Potter. Why do I keep calling him Harry Potter? Harry just goes Snape, and then Dumbledore's always saying Professor Snape, Harry. So
Dumbledore respects him, Harry doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great indication.
Or Dumbledore just wants Harry to respect him.
Ooh, okay.
Doesn't necessarily say that Dumbledore respects him. It's just a implied.
That's a really fascinating point. I'm like, because there's some important lines that come up where people call Snape something. They either call him Severus or they call him Snape. That's a really fascinating connection.
Dumbledore does call him Severus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I just noticed it between Narcissa and Bella. Because they are like in the same boat, but Severus. Or
I mean, that's probably. Do you have like a name that people call you that they respect you? Like, do people use your full name?
I don't know. I have a lot of nicknames. I have nicknames from like individual people.
Yeah, for sure.
But
that's fun.
If someone calls me Liz, I know they're like not really like my friend, because everybody calls me Lizzie.
Yeah.
And like I don't really like being called Liz, but a lot of people do because they're just like kind of on the outskirts.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be like, it's actually Lizzie.
It's actually
and I feel like Liz is way more like professional sounding than Lizzie. But at this point, whatever.
When you have a corporate job, at some financial company, my name is Liz.
Yeah,
not Lizzie.
I'm gonna have to change my identity. But no, I mean, my name is spelled with an S, and I'm actually very, like...
It's cool.
I care that people pronounce it with an S, but nobody does. And, like, I'll correct you if you say it with a Z, because it sounds different. So...
Say your name.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, okay.
Elizabeth.
But, like,
that's
Lizzie-
completely different.
Lizzie is like
I know. Shouldn't you be called
Z's.
Lissy?
Lissy. I can't say Lissy.
No, that's reserved for my
Elizabeth,
grandfather.
Aw.
Only my grandpa. I think Liss is cool. If you
Yeah.
said Liss, I like that. But nobody has ever done
Alyss.
that.
I'm gonna start calling you Alyss.
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 I don't like that.
All right, I won't call you
It's
that. then.
Liss or Lizzie. I don't know.
All right.
What was the question?
I don't even remember because you were talking about Snape and Severus and people
Oh,
calling you
yeah.
different names.
Like, oh yeah. No,
It's-
if somebody calls me Liz, I know that
Yeah,
they're
for
like
sure.
not. They don't really know me.
There's
They
like
just-
there's like levels of
Yeah.
like what people call you that you know. They respect you or they don't, or they know you or they don't.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, chapter 3. Will and Won't.
What happens in chapter 3? Oh, Dumbledore retrieves Harry from the Dursleys,
Mm-hmm.
and they go to Rufus's house. No.
They go to the
To,
Dursleys and they're about to go to Slughorn.
Oh, Slughorn.
Yeah.
Wait, Rufus is the minister, right?
Rufus Scrimgeour is the
Okay,
minister.
I gotta get my character
And Horace
straight.
Slughorn.
Horace Slughorn.
Good memorable character
That's
names
a
in
rough
this.
name.
Yeah.
So they don't even get out of the house in chapter 3. Yeah. And now, Harry, let us step
Yeah.
into the night and pursue that
A
flighty
flighty
temptress adventure. These chapters have great endings, like
Yeah.
all of them so
Yeah,
far.
agreed.
Anyway, that's what happens. He gets picked up.
Harry in the beginning is reading a newspaper article.
He is.
And it's talking about him being the chosen one. It's talking about the rift between Rufus Scrimgeour and Fudge. Then there's leaflets in the newspaper about these creatures called Inferi. Or Inferi.
Yes.
What are they?
They're dead bodies that are possessed by Voldemort, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I just read about that in chapter 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they sound terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like the dead army that rises up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these
Yeah,
are
totally.
these are more so like zombies. Like the Dead Army, they were like spirits ish. This is like dead bodies, and he reanimates dead bodies to do his bidding.
So, do they maintain their own individuality, or are they
No, no,
just
no,
like
no.
a vessel?
They're like a
of-
vessel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You think we're gonna see them?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if he brings it up,
Yeah, for
we've
sure.
already seen a giant, basically,
Yeah.
which made me sad because I wasn't 100% sure that the giants would go to Voldemort, but
Yeah.
they did. And I guess it's just Grop and Hagrid for the good guys.
So there's another point in this chapter where Dumbledore sends a letter to Harry, and it says, "Dear Harry, if it is convenient to you, I shall call at number 4 Privet Drive this coming Friday at 11 p.m. to escort you to the Burrow, where you have been invited to spend the remainder of your school holidays. If you are agreeable, I should also be glad of your assistance in a matter to which I hope to attend on the way to the Burrow. I shall explain this more fully when I see you. Kindly send your answer by return of this owl. Hoping to see you Friday. I am, yours most sincerely, Albus Dumbledore."
I love that sign off.
Yeah.
I am. Yours most sincerely.
I know. I'm going to start signing letters off like that. Email sign off right there.
That'd be crazy.
What did you think of this letter?
I thought it was cool. Has he gotten a letter from Dumbledore yet?
In the whole series of the book, he's got like little notes from Dumbledore, like little tidbits here and there, but this is more like an official kind of letter.
I like it.
Do you think that Dumbledore is trying to overcompensate here? Because he kind of ignored him in the previous book?
No. I mean, I hope Harry would understand why he was ignoring him
Yeah.
at this point and be mature about that. But I think their relationship's a lot better
Yeah,
in
it
these
seems
books.
like, yeah.
Like Harry seems way more normal and at ease, and like he actually has a personality talking to Dumbledore.
Agreed, but do you find that a little unsettling, seeing that his uncle, his godfather, just died?
No, I
Like,
think it's more because they had like a giant fight and they could just get everything out on the
yeah,
table.
that's
Because
a
I think
great point.
sometimes you just like release and then it's like it's out there. You don't need to talk about it
Yeah,
again. And now you just have like this weird bond where you said what you needed to say and now you're just kind of like tight whether you like it or not.
yeah,
That's what I was kind of attributing it to.
that's a great point. That like they were able to just kind of like clear the air, and then now they have like a more normal relationship because it does seem like they're a little bit healthier in their relationship right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Because Harry with Dumbledore before was always just like, yes, okay.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there was like no personality.
yeah,
But now he actually has a personality.
yeah, for sure.
Which is nice.
It's great. It's lovely. Um, Here's another intro that we have. It says, "I don't mean to be rude," he began in a tone that threatened rudeness in every syllable. "Yet sadly, accidental rudeness occurs alarmingly often," Dumbledore finished the sentence gravely. "Best to say nothing at all, my dear man. And this must be Petunia." The kitchen door had opened, and there stood Harry's aunt, wearing rubber gloves and a housecoat over her nightdress, clearly halfway through her usual pre-bedtime wipe down of all the kitchen surfaces. Her rather horsey face registered nothing but shock. "Albus Dumbledore," said Dumbledore, when Uncle Vernon failed to give to effect an introduction. "We have corresponded, of course." Harry thought it's an odd way of reminding Aunt Petunia that he had once sent her an exploding letter. But Aunt Petunia did not challenge the term. "And this must be your son, Dudley." What do you think of this intro of Dumbledore?
It's good.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. It makes me wonder if they correspond more than the Howler, though. I'm like,
Really? Okay.
yeah. Because I just feel like they could be sending letters more.
About
back and
what?
forth. I don't know. I mean,
Like, are they chatting about Harry? I don't seem like Petunia is really chatting with Harry about stuff.
yeah. I mean, Dumbledore is like, obviously you haven't been treating him how we told you to treat him.
Yeah.
So it seems like he hasn't been given any updates on
Yeah.
how Harry's doing, but like she could just lie in her letters. Like she's a muggle. She's not bound by any like truth
Yeah.
quills or whatever
That's
they
very
have.
true.
But yeah, I'm like, maybe they send like a letter back and forth every once in a while. I don't
Interesting.
know. Or like just he keeps scaring her into like keeping him alive.
He's continually and perpetually bullying Petunia into keeping Harry alive, even though Petunia wants nothing to do with him. Yeah, potentially, possibly.
It felt like he was putting them under some spell of being quiet too. Like it felt like more than them just being scared of him.
Yeah, do you think that they're yeah, that's actually a fascinating point, that there was some like not deeper form of magic, but Dumbledore was actually performing some magic to keep them shut up. Because typically you don't see the Dursleys like that. They're like flummoxed and they like, I don't know, at a loss for words at times, but there's like a prolonged period where they're just kind of listen to him, and like Dumbledore has it all out, you know?
Yeah.
Which I love this chapter for that reason, because Dumbledore kind of like gets his word in, which is really lovely. And like it makes here, I think there's something about Dumbledore saying this and about Harry hearing it coming from Dumbledore's mouth that I think is really important. Like all this other stuff happens, and like Dumbledore and Harry are having the side conversation. Even the creature thing where they're like, "Oh, you know, creature, if you can summon him, then Grimmauld place is yours," and they do that whole thing. And then Dumbledore has this like burner of a line. He says, "Now, as you already know, the wizard called Lord Voldemort has returned to his country. The wizarding community is currently in a state of open warfare. Harry, whom Lord Voldemort has already attempted to kill on numerous occasions, is even in greater danger now than the day when I left him on your doorstep 15 years ago. With a letter explaining about his parents' murder and expressing the hope that you would care for him as though he were your own." Dumbledore paused, and although his voice remained light and calm, and he gave no sign of obvious anger, Harry felt a kind of chill emanating from him, and noticed that the Dursleys drew very slightly closer together. "You did not do as I asked. You never treated Harry as a son. He has known nothing but neglect and often cruelty at your hands. The best that can be said is that he has, at least, escaped the appalling damage you have inflicted upon the unfortunate boy sitting between you." What do you think of that?
Sassy.
I know. Do you think that Dudley is more damaged than Harry?
No. Maybe because Dudley doesn't even know he's damaged, whereas
Yeah.
Harry is like overcoming it already.
He's on the path to
Yeah.
fixing it. Yeah.
I didn't really think about that. because Harry is like becoming a very like well-rounded person, I think.
Yeah.
And he's very normal. Like he's a normal guy. But Dudley, I feel like, is probably stuck up, ego.
Yeah.
Doesn't know anything about real life. So
Yeah.
maybe he's worse.
Yeah, he could be worse. He could be worse off. Dumbledore seems to think so.
Dumbledore had to know that like they were not caring for him though.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about this before, but why would Dumbledore not have changed that?
I don't know. It's
Because
just
he's
makes me
terrible.
annoyed. Yeah, because he's an evil person. We talked about this. Did I give you an
We've briefly
answer?
mentioned it in certain parts, just because of our like perpetual hatred of Dumbledore. Why would he not rescue? No, I'm just kidding. Why would he not rescue Harry out of this? Why
To
would
keep him
Dumbledore?
Normal.
Okay, but
like,
there's a
normal is
level
not
to it. Yeah, and
abuse.
this is not normal. And maybe like to keep him humble, but this is like extreme humility. This is like too much. I don't know if anybody should be put in this situation continuously for what they've done. So does Dumbledore have some greater plan? Like, is there like weird magic and like, you know, getting like abused by the Dursleys that Harry doesn't know about, that all of a sudden, you know, like Harry has thicker skin literally because, you know, maybe he metaphorically has thicker skin. I don't know. Is there something else at play here?
I mean, he has to be at the house to have the protection, but that seems like he only needs to be there for like a day or like a night.
Yeah.
So
why not just go for a day and then peace? I'm going to the Burrow.
Exactly. The world may never know.
I know. It's a bummer.
I don't know. Do we know? Okay.
Not at this point, but
the world will know.
The world will know
soon.
But at this point, it definitely makes, like, it's not like an open question you're asking. It's just like Harry kind of does this and goes back every summer. But it just makes, when you look back on it, it's like, why did Dumbledore actually not, you know, rescue Harry from the situation? It's a tough question to answer. But the end, great ending to this chapter. And now, Harry, let us step out into the night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure. Which is the next chapter, chapter 4, which is Horace Slughorn. Give me a quick summary of that chapter.
So Dumbledore and Harry go to Horace Slughorn's house, which looks like it's been broken into, but is not. It's like a farce.
Yeah.
And then Dumbledore's point is to convince Horace to be a teacher at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
But Dumbledore just goes to the bathroom and lets Harry do the convincing very passively, unknowingly. And then he comes out and he's like, "Hey, time to go." And Horace is like, "Oh, wait, what? Okay." And then he becomes a teacher. And then I think Dumbledore's like, oh, Horace likes to be around and influence the influential people.
Yes.
So he's like warns Harry to be careful and cautious, that he's just that Horace is gonna like come up to Harry to be like, collect him, like his little jewels. I don't know. So that's like, that was a nice warning. It's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what happens.
So before I ask any of those questions about that, Harry kind of thinks in his head that when he's like with Dumbledore at this point, it says he's never had a proper conversation with his headmaster outside Hogwarts before. There was usually a desk between them. And Harry's like kind of thinking of all the questions that he can ask him. But if you could ask one question to Dumbledore at this moment, what would you ask?
At this moment? Be like, is there any way I can see Sirius again?
That's a great question.
Because there seems to be a lot of weird things once wizards are gone.
Yeah.
So, like, can we just get somebody to go get Voldemort's wand and we can, like, zap them together and I can see my parents again? Like, I don't know. The mirror... There's eternal like life if you do something with the rock.
Yeah.
So I feel like
that would legitimately be a really well written thing in there, because it would show Harry's like, because that's probably his deepest desire right now, is to see his godfather again.
Yeah, like, is there a portrait somewhere?
Yeah.
That's what I would want to know.
Yeah, even a portrait would be kind of fun.
Like, Sirius should have had a portrait painted.
I know. Because
like if the portrait person is dead, you can still talk to them, right?
Yeah, but it's not real. It's not the real person. So there's a slight difference with
Yeah.
the headmasters, since the headmasters spend time with their portrait, getting to know their portrait.
But he should have done that when he was stuck in the house, and they could have been like identical.
No, they wouldn't be identical.
Because
It'd still be, like,
he was
10%
in
of the
Grimmauld Place
final
for
thing.
so long.
Yeah, for sure. He should have some kind of like, maybe even like a child portrait in Grimmauld Place where Harry can be like, "Oh, hey, baby, baby Sirius." But yeah, it's not the full person. It's not even close to the full person. So like they could have random conversations, but I don't know if it would be even to the extent that a painted version of Sirius would really even recognize Harry, unless Sirius spent serious time with his portrait.
Heyo.
Which
What
is
if
what the
you-
headmasters are instructed to do.
What if you painted a portrait, gave it to Harry put it up in the dorm, and then they could like Sirius could come back and forth and like communicate with Harry? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Like-
but it would be the portrait communicating. It wouldn't be Sirius communicating.
Okay, well maybe by other means than portrait.
They
Can
had
we
the
talk
mirror,
to
which it should have been the
Sirius?
mirror. That's what they should have done with the freaking.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah,
Why?
oh
What
well.
would you ask Dumbledore? That's a question I can make
Honestly,
you answer.
Yeah, honestly, yours is really good because it would point to the actual character of Harry. It would be a great bit of writing to include in there. I don't know what I'd ask him. I'm not prepared to answer these questions. I'm only prepared to
Neither
ask him
am
these
I.
questions.
I have less of a
I know,
warning than you.
You're a quick thinker. I would need to like time to process through these. Now I like understand putting people through these
Yeah.
podcasts.
Because then now this is just going to be in the podcast for eternity. And
Yeah.
you're going to listen back to it and be like, oh, that was a terrible answer. But you had to come up with something. So go, you're stalling. Choose your answer.
If I were Harry, I would probably I mean there's a bunch of different like random questions, but I would probably ask him a lot about like his black hand at the moment. Like that's the most pressing thing I would think
That's
would be
valid.
really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And not just because it's like it doesn't for Dumbledore, it doesn't seem like it was just like, some random accident that happened. It seems like it was significant to like the fight against Voldemort, even at this point. So I'd be like grilling him with questions on that.
But Harry already asked him about it.
I know, and he shut him up.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't tell you this now. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't do this in real life because I'd be terrified to do this. If someone like Dumbledore was like, I'm not going to answer that question now. If I'm Harry, like press into that a little bit. You'd be like, hey, hold on. Last semester you told me like, I should ask you more and trust you. And like, but for
Yeah.
this is going to be a relationship, you have to tell me these things.
It says in there though that Harry got the notion that he wasn't just shutting him down. Like he legit did want to tell him the whole story.
Yeah. So
So.
why doesn't he?
Because you need time to do it justice.
Yeah.
Don't you just trust Dumbledore? Isn't everything he says? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. Or I don't know. I like Dumbledore's aloofness. Maybe I'd ask him like just, a silly question like, what's the coolest bit of magic you ever performed or something random?
What's your favorite flavor of jam?
Yeah. It's raspberry. Dumbledore's is raspberry. Mine's not raspberry. Raspberry is one of my least favorite kinds of jam.
What's
There's
yours?
so many better fun. I mean, I had blueberry jam a few weeks ago. I
that's
haven't
good.
gotten blueberry in a while, but it's delicious. Apricot. I like apricot, even though that's controversial.
That's the worst.
Apricot's delicious.
Honestly, grape and strawberry are
Yeah.
my top two.
Yeah, those are classics. Hard to
Yeah.
beat those.
Apricot's crazy though.
Apricot's delicious.
It's yellow. No one wants yellow jam.
Yellow flavored anything is the best.
No.
Yes,
No.
literally yellow Laffy Taffy, yellow Runts, yellow you name it, and the
Runts?
yellow flavor are the best.
What
yeah,
is
Runts.
that?
The candy back in the good old days.
In
They
the
were
20th
like
century?
oh gosh, ouch, that cuts. They were like little like fruit flavored candies, but the yellow was banana. Anything banana flavored is my favorite.
The majority of yellow things are lemon though, so
Yeah, that's true, and
lemon
that
drops.
sucks. But every once in a while you get a
Laffy
banana.
Taffies are good though.
Banana Laffy Taffies are the best, or green apple Laffy Taffies are great too.
No.
Two faves. What? You're
I
absurd.
don't like sour things, I don't think.
Green apple's not that sour.
The Italian ice I was just eating before was like really sour.
What was it?
Kiwi strawberry.
Oh,
It was too sour.
yeah, that is a little strong.
I did not enjoy.
Both of those I feel like aren't sour. Was it tart?
I think they just dumped some citric acid in there and called it a day.
Yeah. Okay, here's another random like meta question. Dumbledore goes, "Keep your wand at the ready, Harry," he said brightly. "But I thought I'm not allowed to use magic outside school, sir." "If there's an attack," said Dumbledore, "I give you permission to use any counterjinx or curse that might occur to you. However, I do not think you'll have to worry about being attacked tonight." "Why not, sir?" "You are with me," said Dumbledore simply. First of all, is Dumbledore arrogant to say this? And second of all, who in the wizarding world do you feel completely safe around?
I don't think it's arrogant. That's like, I would feel so safe.
Yeah, I
like,
know for sure.
I
I'm
could
like,
just
oh,
like
all right, good.
relax.
If he's not stressed, I'm not
Yeah.
stressed.
And Harry has no idea where he is either.
Yeah.
It's not even like his town.
Yeah.
Who would I feel safe with? Dumbledore, Tonks, McGonagall,
Yes, Tonks,
like any
girl.
from the Order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like anyone in the Order.
Yeah.
Mr. Weasley, probably Mrs. Weasley.
Yeah,
Honestly,
they'd be good
Fred
ones.
and George, I would feel
Oh.
so safe with them.
Yeah. I would feel safe, but simultaneously not, because you're like, okay, they're gonna make an accident, not or like they're gonna like give me some candy and I'm gonna like blow up from this candy. But
Yeah.
just their general expertise and knowledge feels so safe.
If we were in danger, I feel like I'd be completely safe. But if
Yeah.
we're just like messing around and they're like, "Hey, do you want to eat this?"
Yeah.
I'd be like, "No, absolutely not."
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. A few other random questions. What happened to his hand?
I don't know. He also has this ring that they're
Yeah.
talking about.
What is the ring?
It's like a cracked black stone, I think.
Okay.
I'm avoiding the meaning
Yeah.
behind that. I think his hand either got hurt in the battle in the last book at the Ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Or what did I just say before that? Like he did some, like he told
Yeah, unforgivable or unbreakable vow.
an unbreakable vow. Like what happens when you break an unbreakable vow?
Your hand
Maybe
goes
your
black.
hand turns black. I don't know. Cause I feel like with the house, like with Grimmauld Place, something could have happened there because, like there was a whole secret keeper situation with that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if like who was the secret keeper for the house? Sirius?
Yeah.
So then the secret keeper dies,
Yeah.
and then you're not bound by that anymore. Like what happens to the other person? Does their hand turn black?
No, the other person.
Because like why do they know where it is?
Sorry. The secret keeper of Grimmauld Place wasn't Sirius. It was Dumbledore. Sirius just owned the property
So why do people know where it is?
because Dumbledore gives him access to it. Remember that piece of paper Harry read, and he said the address that was in
Yeah.
Dumbledore's writing.
But
and it
how
was
does
for Harry?
the Death Eaters know where it is?
They don't. They know where it is, but they can't get in. They can't access it. So there's.
I thought they could. That's why the Order left.
No, that they were nervous because they thought ownership had transferred to Bellatrix and she would have
Oh.
access to it in that occurrence. So they evacuated it. And then when Creature responded to Harry, that's when it was
Yes.
confirmed that Harry is the rightful owner of 12 Grimmauld Place. It passed down to Harry rather than Bellatrix by deep magic.
So then they're gonna go back there.
Yeah, so they can go back there now.
Okay. Sweet. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, 2 more questions in this chapter. What do you think of Slughorn?
I think I'll probably like him. He seems like an interesting guy.
Yeah.
I don't mind him. Nothing so far. Like he seems a little jumpy and overly cautious to be running around the country and like pretending to
Mm-hmm.
be ransacked, but I mean whatever works. Like that's better than dying. So
So Dumbledore gives him gives Harry like a notion that he's a bit shifty and a bit odd, and he's going to try to collect Harry. And he like kind of feeds on people who are famous and have like bright futures. Why would Dumbledore bring a teacher in like that?
Didn't it say he was like a master of X, Y, and Z?
Oh, master what?
That I don't. I mean, I don't remember what it said verbatim.
So he's gonna what's his...
Wasn't he the chief or something? Oh, you can just tell me these things too, so I don't have to make a fool of myself.
No. I don't think that it says that he's a master or anything in this chapter.
Yes, it does.
I think it says Rufus Scrimgeour was he was the chief or the head of magical law enforcement or whatever he was.
I think you can tell me.
He is. I don't think it says he's a master of anything in this chapter, to be honest. I'm like trying to remember it. I don't think that happens. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I don't think that's in there. So do you think that he's going to teach, be a good teacher?
What is he going to teach? Defense Against the Dark Arts?
Probably.
Yeah, but he will probably like keep selecting Harry to be at the front of class and like perform things.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think he'd be fine.
Again, so no answer to this question really. But why do you think Dumbledore is trying to bring Slughorn to teach? Is he just scraping the bottom of the barrel? Like the last teacher that he can find that would take the job?
No. I think he probably knows that he'll...
Hey.
Wes.
Come here. What's up? We're almost done, Wes. Hey.
What was I saying? Oh, I don't think he's scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think there's some benefit to having Slughorn, and I think he's gonna be more powerful for the Order than like he wants to keep him in the Order instead of having him be on Voldemort's side.
Okay.
And it is kind of like protection for him too, which is why he got convinced to be at Hogwarts.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, absolutely.
It's a win for him, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Last one. Sorry, I said those are the last two, but at the end of this, Dumbledore says that Harry's gonna have private lessons with him. What are these private lessons gonna be on?
A little bit of this. A little bit of that.
Great answer to that question. Thanks for joining us on this podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably some occlumency and legilimency.
Okay.
Probably dark arts. Maybe some
a little bit of this.
Charms.
A little of that.
Yeah,
I like it.
Literally everything.
All right.
Yeah, and then did it not say if he was gonna have more occlumency with Snape?
He wasn't gonna have to take occlumency with Snape anymore.
He wasn't.
Oh,
wasn't.
Yeah, Dumbledore cut that.
That's good.
That's nice. And so it doesn't have to endure that anymore.
Yeah. Maybe because Snape and Voldemort are now doing occlumency to each other.
Yeah, they're canceling each other out.
Yeah.
We won't go over all the questions, but just give me a hot tamale for this chapter. That's all we care about.
Hot tamale, Dumbledore.
Ooh, Dumbledore's got a little hot tamale energy.
Yeah. That's my pick.
A little gay old man energy right there.
Sure, whatever you say.
I'm kind of down with that. I kind of like that.
I just feel like he has a personality this time.
Yeah, agreed. And just like how he's able to weave in conversation, I think in the will and won't chapter when he's able to like demand that conversation and like prove that Dursley's wrong. I kind of love that too. I think you nailed it. I think he's got more of his personality comes out in these chapters, which is lovely to see. So,
agreed.
Good pick.
Thanks.
Want to close out?
Thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the Second Time Readers.
Bye.
See ya.